then there were two. It's been a thrilling season, and after 12 rounds of thrills, spills, joy and heartbreak on snow, gravel and tarmac in 3 different continents, now only Citroën Sebastian Loeb or Ford's Mikko Hirvonen can win the 2011 World Rally Championship. To claim the title, though, they will have to battle it out on one of the toughest challenges in world motorsport, Wales Rally GB. This is WRC Rally World, and coming up in the final show of the season, we speak to Mini star Chris Meek as he looks ahead to his first home round driving the Mini WRC.
It's a case of going and enjoying it, enjoying the local support and home support, and trying to get the best result we can.
We bring you all the best action from the SWRC Championship decider on the mixed surface round in Rally Catalunya. And later in the show, we bring you exclusive pictures from the first ever test for the new Volkswagen Polo R WRC car. First run in 1932, Rally GB is one of the oldest events on the calendar, and its long and proud history include the memorable wins for local star Roger Clark in the 70s, the years of domination by Hannu Mikkola, and the Battle of the Brits, McRae and Burns in the late 90s.
The best in the world!
The list goes on and on, but it's the combination of stunning stages and challenging conditions in the British winter that mark the event out as one of the classics. Historically run all over Britain, for the last decade the event has run exclusively in Wales, where the forests and valleys of this stunning country have hosted the rebranded Wales Rally GB. It's all changed though for 2011. The event is spreading out across Wales for an extended route, which begins in the north of the country on Thursday with the classic Great Orme stage, and then works its way south around a service park in Bilfwells, ending up with a finish ramp in front of Cardiff Castle. The gravel stages are run mainly in Forest Commission-owned land, and in the dry are actually some of the fastest in the championship. But rain, ice, fog and sometimes snow ensure this is not a rally for the faint-hearted. And its traditional position as the season finale has seen many championships won and lost over its wet, muddy stages. 10 years ago, 4 drivers arrived at the season finale in Wales with a shot at the title. Tommy Mackinnon was the first of the championship hopefuls to go out with broken suspension.
This rally seems to be sometimes a bit hard.
Colin McRae was then leading and on course for his second world title until he crashed spectacularly. And with Carlos Sainz not making an impact and later withdrawn from the event, Marcus Gronholm won the rally, and 3rd place was enough for Richard Burns to claim his only world title. In 2003 again, there were 4 championship hopefuls when Burns fell ill before the event and Carlos Sainz went off the road on day 1. It was winner takes all between Sebastian Loeb and Peter Solberg. With the Frenchman needing to secure Citroën's first manufacturer's title, he couldn't catch Peter's Subaru Impreza to cue up memorable scenes at Margam Park as the Norwegian claimed the title by 1 point. In 2007, the championship went down to the wire between Loeb and Gronholm. With a podium finish enough to secure Loeb the title, he stealthily locked out 3rd spot. After an early challenge from Jari-Matti Latvala faded, Gronholm finished 2nd, with Mikko Hirvonen claiming his first GB win. 2 years ago, as is the case this season, Loeb and Hirvonen fought it out for the title in Wales. The Citroën man was quickest out of the blocks, and then when Mikko hit problems on the penultimate stage, Loeb took the victory, and with it his 6th world title by just 1 point. And last year, Loeb made it 3 consecutive Rally GB wins. With his 7th championship already secured, the Frenchman completed his season in style by claiming victory by 19 seconds from 2nd place Peter Solberg. We'll have more on the season finale later in the show, but first a word with Britain's newest WRC star. Rally Catalunya 2011 proved to be a landmark event for Mini's Chris Meek. The Northern Irishman saved his first ever stage win for the final test in Spain. It saw him claim the first power stage victory for Mini and add to his first WRC points tally. Now in his 9th year of international rallying, it must have felt like a long time coming.
It's been an interesting journey, but okay, the important thing is that I'm here now, and You know, we have an opportunity for the future to try and achieve, you know, my goals within the World Championship. And yeah, it's a learning curve this year, and it will be on into next year for me to learn the rallies. And yeah, hopefully we can build that up and use the experience in the future. Winning the IRC Championship for me back in 2009 was a big thing my first year in the championship, and obviously that was an important step in my career. And you know, that led on to gaining the opportunity with ProDrive. It was always a desire to get into the World Championship and try to have a contract with a factory team. And the moment that happens, your goalposts have already moved, and you know, that's when the hard work starts.
Before his IRC success, Mick did have experience of the World Championship with a number of years in the junior WRC, where for a while he actually raced alongside his now teammate Danny Sordo.
I remember fondly back 2002 Rally GB. Was my first time into the World Championship, and I think that was only my 10th or 11th ever rally. So yeah, I was very much into the deep end, but unless you jump into a level that's higher than yours at that given moment, you're never going to improve. And yeah, JWRC at that time was a stepping stone. And Danny's a fantastic friend of mine. You know, we were teammates together back in 2005 in the juniors, and yeah, he's a real genuine character and someone I relate to very well, and we get on very well. So yeah, to have him in the team is good for me. And you know, from a professional point of view, it's fantastic for me to have someone with so much experience. You know, he's 6 years in the WRC, and you know, many podiums under his belt. I'm probably quite possibly one of the fastest drivers in the world on tarmac.
Despite the fact that they are good friends, there's still a friendly rivalry between the two men.
It's like anything. When you get inside the rally car and close the doors, everybody's an enemy. But outside the car, obviously, you know, you get on very well with Danny, and you know, get on with everybody. The thing about rallying, you're never competing together, you're never head to head, and everyone's a great respect for what the other guy does. But when you close the door, the stopwatch is your enemy, you know, and you want to set the fastest time possible.
In 1995, there was another inter-team rivalry between a Spaniard and a Brit when Carlos Sainz and Colin McRae fought tooth and nail for the championship. It's ironic then that in later years, both these drivers' protégés would end up together in another ProDrive run outfit.
Colin was fundamental in my career, and you know, he took me on after I'd only done one season of rallying in a small one-make championship in the UK. And yeah, he took me through British Rally Championship, and you know, the biggest step in any driver's career is into the world arena, and that was the Junior World Championship for me at that stage. And you know, without Colin's support and guidance, for sure I wouldn't have had those opportunities. Yeah, there's so many things about the deal that are quite ironic. You know, to be involved with Mini, obviously it was a brand that was so famous with Paddy Hopkirk, a fellow countryman of mine, and also with ProDrive. You know, ProDrive brought Richard Burns and Colin McRae to World Championships. So yeah, hopefully everyone here is motivated and, you know, to look to the future and, you know, try to recreate you know, what they achieved in the past.
While Sordo received all the plaudits for the new team's first 2 podium finishes in Germany and France, Mick was showing terrific speed but having all the bad luck in their early rallies.
In the first few events we had a few mechanical troubles, and yeah, we were running quite well in France. We were lying in 4th place, just in behind Danny, and yeah, unfortunately we tripped up. But okay, that's what happens in the game when you're trying to learn and you're trying to tread the fine line between gaining experience and trying to find your speed. And so that's what happened. This year in particular, there's been the top 5 drivers which have been, you know, out front by themselves. You know, the 2 Citroens, the 2 Fords, and Petter Solberg as well. So to be in there mixing it with those drivers in the top 5 in Germany and France, for me, without the experience, is something pretty special. You know, getting up on the second morning in France and having Ogier in front of you and Latvala and Hervinen behind you, is, to be in there in the mix is good, and you know, it shows that we're not doing a lot wrong.
And the final event of the year is, of course, Mick's home event at Rally GB.
It's going to be special, you know. I'd say every driver has sort of their home event. Although I'm from Ireland, Wales is only across the way, and it's an event I'm very comfortable with. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to have all the home support there. But again, going to that rally in particular, I have to go there and gain the experience. You know, I haven't been there since 2006. So yeah, it's a case of going and enjoying it, enjoying the local support and home support, and trying to get the best result we can.
Coming up, we bring you action from the championship decider in the SWRC, where 3 men arrived in Spain with a shot at the title. And as we look ahead to the WRC finale, Hirvonen relives the moment his title hopes ended in 2009.
Second last stage of the rally. Just in one jump, the bonnet pin came loose.
Welcome back. While the muddy forest roads of Rally GB will decide the WRC title, it was the mixed surface Rally d'Espagne that played host to the season finale of the Super 2000 category. The SWRC reached its climax at the Rally Catalunya. Heading into the final round, 3 men stood a chance of taking home the crown for the Principal Support Championship to the WRC. But one man's hopes were about to be shattered in the cruelest way by this rock. The road to the SWRC Championship has been a rocky one. Title favourite Nasser Al-Attiyah had his hopes dashed with a disqualification in the very first round and further technical failures. Evan Brynildsen found no silver lining in the clouds. Bad luck has struck the Norwegian on many rallies, but this off in Finland was the height of his troubles. Martin Prokop has seen hopes of a win go up in smoke in Sardinia, and more dramatically after this off-road excursion in Germany. Oyt Tanak has shown formidable pace this year, but he's been struck by inconsistency and a few dramatic ends to his rallies. Juho Hannonen's been fighting all the way with Tanak, but he too has made more than his fair share of mistakes along the way. A tempestuous season then has left the leaderboard looking like this, heading into the final round. Hannonen is the leader by just 3 points over Tanak, and Martin Prokop also in with a chance of taking the title, so it's winner takes all in Spain. The Rally de Catalunya takes place in Salou, 95 kilometres south of Barcelona, where 18 stages await the drivers on the only fully mixed surface event of the season, a unique challenge for the drivers.
The change between gravel and tarmac will be difficult for the cars, and also the race is the longest race this year, so it can be very difficult for us.
It's quite difficult, especially the first day with gravel is quite narrow in some places, and then you have to completely switch your mind for the next 2 days because it's just tarmac. On the gravel, of course, you drive a little bit more sideways, you can play a bit with the car. On tarmac, you have to drive a very clean line and make no drift at all.
And to add to that, there was the small matter of the SWRC title up for grabs this weekend.
We are 3 that can make a title, so I am on the worst position. I am third, but still there is chance to be champions, so we'll try to do it.
It will be head-to-head with Tanak, so it's no need to calculate any points or make any tactics. So now just who is faster will win the championship, so it's quite clear.
If I had €10 to bet on either yourself or Juho to win this weekend, who should I put my money on?
You think I should put it on Hanne? No way.
A thrilling fight ahead then, but a new face joins the likely lads in Spain in the shape of Craig Breen. The Irishman is a rising star in the WRC Academy, and his ascendancy continues with a step up to the Super 2000 class.
We're in a proper rally car now with some good power. Okay, a fantastic rally. We're just here to try and gain some experience in the stages, see how we compare to the SWRC drivers. Obviously, Juho and Oyt are fighting for the championship, so to try and even consider getting amongst them is going to be quite difficult this weekend. I think if I could get onto the podium like I done in GB last year, it would be amazing.
With the stage set then, a mixed surface challenge lay ahead, and first to sample the unique stages was championship leader Juho Hannonen. With a slender 3-point lead over Oyt Tanak, Hannonen needed to be fast straight out of the blocks to win the coveted SWRC title. There was no room for a careful drive. Oyt Tanak was the man hoping to beat Hannonen to the SWRC title. Estonian has shown incredible pace this season, but has been prone to some silly mistakes that have resulted in retirements from rallies. Already at the midway point, though, Tänak was faster than Hänninen in stage, a good sign for the weekend ahead. Martin Prokop was next into the stage. The Czech driver's third-place finish in France meant he was still in with a mathematical chance of winning the championship here in Spain. At the halfway point of stage one, though, Prokop came across Ott Tänak's co-driver out of the car and warning of a hazard. Around the corner we can see Tänak furiously getting to work on a damaged car. At this stage, Martin had no idea what had caused that, a disaster for Tänak, but that played right into the hands of his championship rivals. At the 15-kilometre mark, our cameras found the stricken Tänak in stage. His SWRC title hopes, like his Fiesta, going no further.
Already in the beginning of first stage, it looked to be quite difficult because there was a lot of dust and it wasn't very nice to drive, and yeah, then we hit the rock as well, so not a good start.
Tänak's title dreams shattered by this rock. Carl Kruder was forced to retire in similar circumstances to Tänak after hitting a rock in stage. Both Estonians suffering from the same luck. We're not used to seeing this much drama so early in the rally. Another sight we're not used to seeing is Craig Breen in SWRC machinery. The WRC Academy driver had made the step up as a one-off, and it was paying off. He was fastest in the second stage and lying in third at the end of the morning. Nasser Al-Attiyah, though, was the man of the moment. At the end of the morning loop, he'd taken the rally lead from Hänninen. After a dramatic morning then, it was Al-Attiyah leading the rally by 4.5 seconds, with Craig Breen, the surprise entrant, in the top three. Back at the service park, Hänninen reflected on his championship rival's early exit.
Ott made a small mistake and he's now out, but somehow it made my work even more difficult. Now rally feels more longer, and now it's my turn to really avoid all the mistakes and problems, so it won't be easy now.
With the pressure now off Hänninen, the Finn's task was to finish the remaining 300 kilometres unscathed. Tänak and Prokop were still theoretically in with a chance of the title, so he couldn't afford to make any silly mistakes. In spite of this, though, Hänninen retook the lead from Al-Attiyah in the first stage of the afternoon with an impressive drive on the tricky Spanish stages. The afternoon stages also hosted a fierce battle between Craig Breen and Martin Prokop for third. Prokop briefly had the upper hand by the slimmest of margins on stage 5. But it was pacey Irishman Breen who retook third, extending his lead to 3.5 seconds. At the end of the day, though, Nasser Al-Attiyah had retaken the lead from Hänninen, his experience in the Dakar rally clearly paying off in these tough gravel sections. At the end of a dramatic first day then, it was Al-Attiyah with a slender lead over Hänninen. Bernardo Sosa in 6th after retiring with a broken alternator after the final stage. Day 2 heralded a return to the Spanish tarmac we've come to expect from Rally Catalunya, but not everyone made it out to the asphalt stages. After a valiant effort on the first day at the wheel of his hand-controlled Fiat Abarth, Albert Javera had brake caliper problems which ruled him out of action on day 2, meaning the plucky Andorran would have to wait for the day 3 stages. Out on the stages, it was still Nasser Al-Attiyah dominating proceedings. At 40 years old, he showed the rest of the field what his experience counts for, winning all of the morning stages to stretch his lead to 20 seconds. Behind him on the road was Juho Hänninen. The Finn had the unenviable task of not pushing too hard and risk seeing his title hopes go the same way as Ott Tänak. Not an easy task on the high-speed stages. After a dream start to the rally, Irishman Craig Breen had a disastrous day 2. Early on in the day, he broke his rear drive shaft, having to complete the morning with only front-wheel drive. Craig dropped to 4th.
We've broken a rear right drive shaft, maybe 7 or 8k into the first stage. Obviously, been 45k. We dropped a minute and a half, but I can tell you it was going to be a good time, and I'm just so disappointed that we didn't get the short. And we've just lost bundles of time in the last 2 stages, but we're still here. You know, I need to show some good speed after service when we get it fixed.
Breen's misfortune fell right into the hands of Martin Prokop as he retook third. Setup changes in the afternoon saw Prokop looking more comfortable. His lead over Breen now up to 45 seconds. Juho Hänninen finished the day in second after a careful drive to preserve his title hopes. By the end of the day, though, he'd still managed to reduce Alatier's lead to less than a second. It was by no means a problem-free day for the rally leader, though. Nasser Al-Attiyah was driving on the ragged edge and nearly ended his rally on stage 10. That moment forced a stop in the road section after the stage to fix his gearbox. Incredibly, though, Nasser still ended the day as the rally leader. After the first full day on tarmac then, it was Qatari Al-Attiyah leading from Juho Hänninen by 0.4 of a second, while Prokop had overtaken Breen after his technical problems.
The gap is not big, you know, 0.4, and I think we improve a lot in tarmac, and tomorrow everything's open and we try to do our best to win this race.
I need to just focus to get to finish, no mistakes, so but okay, if I find a good rhythm, we will see what I can do with Nasser.
The final day started before daybreak with Nasser Al-Attiyah, the leader, going into the final 103 kilometres of tarmac stages. The Qatari's lead over Juho Hänninen didn't last for long, though. On the first stage of the day, Al-Attiyah lost his brakes, forcing a careful drive on the high-speed tarmac stages. Thanks to Nasser's problems, Juho Hänninen retook the rally lead and was getting closer and closer to sealing his first SWRC title. Craig Breen put his day 2 woes behind him, securing 2 stage wins to claim an impressive 4th place on his SWRC debut. Ahead of him, Martin Prokop drove steadily throughout the final day to secure a comfortable 3rd position overall. And with his brake problems behind him, Nasser Al-Attiyah wasn't able to make up the time to compete for the top spot again. The Qatari, though, would be pleased with his 2nd place finish. Going into the final stage then, it was Juho Hänninen who held a 9-second lead. The Finn had led the rally through every stage of the final day. This goes down as his 3rd victory of the season, but that's not the real prize here. Juho Hänninen and Mikko Markkila are 2011 SWRC champions.
Juho Hänninen and Mikko Markkila, the 2011 Super 2000 World.
Big thanks for the Skoda and pumps like a Red Bull. I made it difficult in Germany and France, but luckily got it back here, so it's very nice, very nice.
Confirmation then of Hänninen's win in Spain. Nasser Al-Attiyah doesn't entirely escape his bad luck, but 2nd is his best finish this year. That translates to maximum points for Hänninen. Craig Breen's 4th, a great performance despite his bad luck. Back at the service park, Juho Hänninen has a quick chance to reflect on his win.
It was difficult rally, very difficult. First 1 stage to go flat out, and then more or less 300, almost 400 k's to just wait and not make any mistakes, and all the stages felt very long one.
And what's the plan from here? Where are we going to see you next year?
I hope in some rallies, even on WRC, but it's more than open. It's a long way to Christmas, so I don't know yet.
Juho Hänninen then the SWRC champion in his 1st year of trying. Oyt Tänak will be disappointed with losing the championship, but his future in the sport is assured with the interest he's sparking in the service park. Juho Hänninen and Mikko Markkila are our new SWRC champions. Back to the WRC now, and another championship showdown between Sebastian Loeb and Mikko Hirvonen. 2 years ago, it was a similar winner-takes-all finish, but on the penultimate stage, a heavy landing over a jump would finally end Mikko's valiant season-long fight.
150. Nyppy täys ja lyhytvasten täys 250 yli.
Huomio, lyhyt oikein eri sisältä, jarru 6, vase hidaristeys, takaviisto. Kivi sisällä. Pikkunyppy täys 180. No ei niin. Oikee täys ja vasen täys. 300.
We were still in the fight in the last couple of stages. We were maybe 15 or 10 seconds behind Loeb. But then second last stage of the rally, just in one jump the bonnet pin came loose, and it was such a high-speed rally that the wind just broke the bonnet hinge and it just popped up against the windscreen, so I couldn't see anything. So that was the end of the title fight that year.
Kievanen will hope his luck holds in 2011, and we'll have more on this year's championship showdown later in the programme. Also coming up after the break, we focus on the fight for second in the PWRC in Spain.
For sure it's going to be tough, and I just want to try to win the rally.
And we head to France for an exclusive tour around the Michelin factory. Welcome back. The stunning scenery of Wales will also host the final round of the production WRC. Hayden Paddon arrived at the previous event in Spain, already crowned champion. Paddon's remarkable run to become the first New Zealander to win a world title had seen him dominate all 4 rallies he'd entered and claim the PWRC title with a clean sweep of victories. But the fight for second place was still wide open. Martin Semmerad was leading the best of the rest, but any one of 5 drivers still had a realistic opportunity of finishing as Paddon's closest rival. For the likes of Semmerad, Mikhail Kosciuszko and Patrick Flodin, it was a crucial weekend ahead on this challenging mixed surface rally in Spain.
There are still 50 points in the game, and we don't have such a gap behind us, so there are several drivers who could still overtake us and take the second place or even the podium from us.
It will be tough, especially I think with Flodin, because he's fast on all rallies. We'll see, is he fast on tarmac? I never compete with him on tarmac.
For sure it's going to be tough, and I just want to try to win the rallies and then see what's happening.
One driver who had a rather frustrating start was Harry Hunt. The winner of the Production Cup for drivers of 2-wheel drive cars rolled on the pre-event shakedown stage, meaning a busy night ahead for his mechanics before the event even got going. And another frustrated man early in the weekend was newly crowned champion Paddon, whose Subaru was grounded on Friday morning.
We come down here to start up the car this morning, all the normal procedures, and absolutely no throttle response. So, you know, it was half an hour before our start time, so the guys worked frantically and replaced a lot of the components that were related to the throttle, and we couldn't find a solution.
With the champion out, it really did enable the rest of the field to focus on the battle for the runner-up spot. As Paddon's closest rival, it was Czech youngster Martin Semmerad, who would be the first to take on the gravel roads of day 1. It was not the start the Mitsubishi driver was hoping for. Already off the pace, a puncture on stage 3 hampered his progress further. Martin did manage to fight back to end the day in 4th spot. It was another Mitsubishi driver who made the best getaway. Mikhail Kosciuszko took the lead on stage 1, only to suffer a setback immediately afterwards. The Polish star hit a tree and smashed a window on the second test. And the man to take advantage immediately was Patrick Flodin. The Swede has been quick but luckless so far in 2011, and finally he was able to prove his pace. He passed Kosciuszko to claim the lead on stage 2. Alexander Saloik is another driver with an outside chance in the race for second. The Ukrainian was running in 3rd early on until he hit a rock and broke his suspension on stage 3. He was out for the rest of the day. Benito Guerrero was the next driver to slot into 3rd, despite some problems with the dust in the fading light on day 1. Out front, though, Flodin had begun to edge away from the chasing pack, a remarkable achievement when his engine was down to just 2 cylinders by the end of the day. It was a stressful final stage in the dark.
It's an electrical fault, you think, more than an engine issue?
I think it happened on the previous stage. It was a big bump, and after the bump, the car started to go on 3-cylinder, and then we were trying to fix it on the road section, but it was impossible.
Despite his engine scare, Flodin's advantage over Kosciuszko stood at just under 36 seconds after day one, with Guerra in third. On to the second morning, and all eyes were on the fight at the front, with both Kosciuszko and Flodin desperate for their first win of the year. The Swedish Subaru pilot was the first into action onto the tarmac roads of day two to defend that half-a-minute advantage. Unfortunately, on his least favourite surface, Flodin was struggling to find a good rhythm. Guerra was to have an incredible second day. Despite 2 punctures, with the drivers behind also hitting problems, he somehow held position. Further back, PWRC champion Hayden Paddon was finally able to start. The Kiwi star was proving his pace with 5 out of 6 wins on day 2, but was still well down the order after picking up a whole day's worth of Super Rally penalties. Back at the front, though, Kosciuszko had slashed the gap to the leader to less than 3 seconds. But late in the day, he had a scare when he lost his brakes towards the end of the final stage. And Flodin was in no mood to relinquish his hard-fought advantage. Although he was still unhappy with his tarmac driving, he had done just enough to stay ahead of his Polish rival.
I'm struggling with my driving, and I don't really know what I'm doing. And sometimes it feels very good, but if you look at Paddon, that's how you should drive, so yeah, all credit for him.
There was just 11 seconds between first and second going into the final day, with Guerra now almost 8 minutes adrift. With 6 stages still to run, the outcome of this hard-fought event was anything but decided. So Kosciuszko set off onto the tarmac roads of the final day, focused on Flodin's times. Could he make one last push for the win? Already in a relatively safe third, the final day would be a lot calmer for Guerra, and he was overjoyed to secure his first ever PWRC podium. Equally keen on conserving his position was Bader Al Jabri. The Emirati faced a nervous final day after picking up an intermittent throttle problem, but thankfully he survived to claim his best ever finish in 4th. In the increasingly tight fight at the front, the scrap between Flodin and Kosciuszko was showing no sign of easing up. With the rally leader into the stages first, Flodin gave it one last push as he finally found a good tarmac rhythm. But had it been enough? The gap between first and second continued to ebb and flow throughout the final day, but by the penultimate stage, Kosciuszko had the gap down to just 2.3 seconds. Heartbreakingly, though, he would just miss out. Flodin claimed the win by just 2 seconds.
This day have been, the pressure I had on my shoulder was amazing. Oh. So, well done, thank you.
But Michael, come here. That was a great battle between you two boys, both going for 100% out there.
Yeah, it was really good fun for us, I think. That was a mixed event on gravel and on tarmac. So I found my chance on tarmac, but okay, it was not enough. We were close, but not enough.
The thrilling fight to the finish saw the closest battle yet in the PWRC this season, while there were also those best ever results for Guerra and Al Jabri. And in the championship standings, that fight for second is even tighter. Just 12 points separate Flodin from the 3 drivers behind him. So delight for Flodin and co-driver Goran Bergsten, and Rally GB will decide the outcome of this final battle of the PWRC 2011. There are many aspects that go into winning a rally. Each and every component needs to be performing at 100%, right from the suspension to the driver. One of the most crucial parts are the tyres and the correct tyre choice. The correct tyres can gain you the vital few seconds needed to take the top step of the podium. Michelin are the main tyre supplier for the WRC in 2011, and with over 110 years of experience, there is no better supplier for the championship. A family-run company which has always been at the forefront of tyre innovation and development, we went to their headquarters in Clermont-Ferrand in France to see the creation of a rally tyre. As we've seen this season, different compounds can have a big impact on the rallies, and each type of tyre has its own specific formula from various components before it goes into the assembly process. The first step of the assembly process is called confection and consists of 8 components being laid on a drum with exact precision. During the 8 stages of the confection process is when all the functions of a tyre are produced. The sidewalls, its strength, weight and balance, each and every process here is as important as the next. It's the precision and craftsmanship of this process which has made Michelin such a successful producer of competition tyres. Each and every tyre is handmade, so every detail is 100% accurate. Once the first 8 stages of confection are complete, you're left with the cylinder. The second stage begins with the inflation of the cylinder, which gives it its tyre shape, so the rest of the process can be completed. Two crown pliers are added to give a belt around the tyre. Then the tread band is added, completing the process. Once this is finished, the next process is the curing. The curing process is where the chemical reactions all take place. A rally tyre is to be cured at 170 to 200 degrees Celsius for 20 minutes, and it's here where the rubber compounds and the metal or textile reinforcements combine closely together. The tread is also moulded to the tread band for the specific requirements dependent of what type of tyre is being produced. The tyre then goes through one last final inspection before being marked up and ready for use. Once on site, the tyres are manually added to the team's own wheel rims by Michelin technicians. And the teams can then make their final tweaks before fitting them to the cars, and the drivers can attack the stages to get the best from that fresh rubber. Still to come, we round up some of the world's leading regional championships. We bring you all the latest news from around the sport, including a first glimpse of Volkswagen's new Polo R WRC in action. And we look ahead to the final round, where Mikko Hirvonen and Sebastian Loeb will go head-to-head for the world title. Welcome back. In a few minutes, we'll bring you the inside line to the wettest round on the calendar in Wales. But first, a quick roundup of some of the world's leading regional championships. The Asia-Pacific Championship has recently held its penultimate round in Hokkaido, Japan. It was won by local man Katsu Taguchi after his teammate Gaurav Gill was excluded for illegal modifications. Alistair McRae came back from a puncture to come within 8 seconds of victory, but ultimately had to settle for second. Nevertheless, the Proton driver now goes into the final round with a 7-point lead over Chris Atkinson, who failed to finish.
It was definitely as hard as it would go at the end. Not taking risks, but obviously we wanted to get the points, so it's great for the championship for us, and I think it's going to be a real fight in China now.
A look at the driver's standings shows that the title will definitely be heading the way of a Proton driver. The final round in China will decide if it goes to McRae or Atkinson. The 2011 Irish Tarmac Championship was recently decided in Cork. The battle for the title was between Dawa O'Riordan and Tim McNulty, and they were also the two drivers fighting it out for the win in Cork. Gary Jennings had done well to lead after a tough first day, with a tricky nighttime stage made even harder with the presence of fog. But on day 2, the championship hopefuls both pushed on, and Cork man O'Riordan moved into the lead despite spinning his Subaru on the day's opening stage.
Into medium left.
Behind him, McNulty also moved past Jennings into second, but following a spin of his own, decided not to push for the lead, knowing second place would be enough to secure him the driver's title. So O'Riordan became the first Cork driver to win his home event for 25 years, but it was also joy for Tim McNulty, who went into the record books as the first driver to win both the Irish National and Tarmac titles in the same season.
Great to get it across the line eventually, but fantastic to win it this year, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of battles over the last 10 years, so fantastic to get it, you know, so near yet so far, so many years, and it was great to get across the finish line this evening and clinch it here in Cork, you know.
And here is confirmation of McNulty's title in the end, winning from O'Riordan by just 4 points, while Kevin Barrett's 4th place finish in Cork was enough to secure him 3rd spot in the overall standings. As we heard earlier, this year sees the 10th anniversary of when Richard Burns was crowned WRC champion. And to commemorate the anniversary, the Richard Burns Foundation have launched the Painted Orange campaign in the hope that Wales will become a sea of orange by fans buying one of the distinctive T-shirts. The foundation's annual charity auction took place at the previous round in Spain.
People are, you know, giving a lot of money for a good cause. You know, you need a big heart to do things like that, so it's very nice.
Paint It Orange sort of campaign, which is to try to make sure that, you know, people do remember Richard in 2001 World Championship, and hopefully when people see the orange around on Rally GB, they'll also remember what it's all about.
Sebastian Loeb has announced he will target a return to the Le Mans 24 Hours when he calls time on his career in the World Rally Championship. The Citroën star has established Sebastian Loeb Racing in partnership with his friend Dominique Heinz, the man who helped to fund his early career in rallying.
Maybe in my future I will have the opportunity to continue my career in motorsport, like a driver or like a team manager, but it's a project we have since a long time and we decided to start it now.
Loeb also joins Barack Obama, Brad Pitt and Michael Jackson as he's been entered into the Waxworks Museum Grevin in Paris. The 7-time world champion was delighted to hit the superstar status of having his own wax model. In other driver news, Martin Prokop will step up to a WRC Fiesta in Wales and is expected to compete in the car next season. Boyd Tanak will also drive a WRC Fiesta in Rally GB, and the Estonian will become the first WRC car to use DMAC tyres. Volkswagen have announced the drivers who will drive their Skoda Fabias in their WRC development team in Wales. Academy runner Sepp Weigand continues their trend for trying out young German talent, while former JWRC regular Kevin Abring will take on his first WRC round of the year. And these are certainly exciting times for Volkswagen.
It is a great day for Volkswagen and for the whole rally fans.
With the German giant's WRC development gaining momentum behind the scenes, we can now show you exclusive pictures from VW's first testing session for their Polo R WRC. Two-time World Rally champion Carlos Sainz had the honour of being the first to get behind the wheel for its runs in the vineyards of Veldenz near Trier, stages that are used in Rally Deutschland. The legendary Spaniard won the epic Dakar race for the team and is now on the management for their WRC effort.
Really good job, feeling is good, and now from now it's, you know, start and making you know, small things that, as we say, for the car number 1, because this is car number 0.
And Sainz was not the only man to get behind the wheel. Research and Development Board member Dr. Ulrich Hackenberg also paid a flying visit to emphasise the importance of the WRC project for the Volkswagen brand.
I try to support, and that's the reason why I'm here. Not only to drive such a car, for me it's a big fun to do that, but it's also a signal for the team that I'm standing behind the team and that we want to accelerate here.
For the car's first ever outing, it was an undoubted success. Around 100 kilometres were completed with no reliability issues, and the initial functional test was followed by tuning and setup work on the engine and the suspension.
Today is a fantastic day. Not only the weather is great, also the car is running, everybody's smiling, and this is the first real important step in a long development.
The team couldn't ask for a more experienced figure than Sainz to give the 300 horsepower Polo R its first run. In his almost 2 decades in the sport with the likes of Toyota, Subaru, Ford and Citroën, the Spaniard became renowned for his meticulous attention to detail.
Come back to me very quickly, to be honest, and you know, if I can help the team with my experience, like I've done in the past with other teams, I will be very happy.
This, of course, was only the beginning of VW's ambitious project. 2012 will see the start of an intensive testing period alongside their development team on event using the group's Skoda S2000 machines before they finally enter the big league of the WRC.
want to become competitive as soon as possible, and we want to win as soon as possible. But after saying that, we have enough humility to understand that this is going to be difficult.
The first goal of the new team has certainly been achieved, and as the current season draws to a close, the first sight of the Volkswagen Polo R being driven in anger provides an enticing glimpse ahead to the new era for the World Rally Championship. Round 13 of 13 in 2011 will again host a dramatic winner-takes-all fight to the finish between Sebastian Loeb and Mikko Hirvonen. But the unpredictable variable of the Welsh November weather is not to be taken lightly.
It's wet, it's dark, it's windy and it's rainy. But I like it. I always enjoyed Wales, and the worse the weather is, the better it is.
Normally dark and muddy and windy and cold. It's everything we always wanted for the last rally of the season.
In November it's already start to be quite cold. I think we are under 10 degrees.
It can be very, very difficult. It can be foggy, raining, very muddy, and so it can be very tricky condition there.
We don't know whether it could be snow this year or not. You know, in the past few seasons it's shown to be a cold event and some ice in places.
Combine the conditions with some of the quickest gravel roads on the calendar, and the size of the task ahead becomes clear.
It's just nice to do some proper forest stages where you can sort of attack very hard. Obviously it's a lot of mud and a lot of water, and it's difficult, but you can attack a different way than you can on rallies, where you have to be cautious on the gravel to not have punctures and things like that.
Some of the forests in Wales have some, you know, the best stages in the championship for me, and yeah, the more difficult the conditions, the better I like it. You know, it's a real challenge there with all the mud and really difficult to read the grip.
That rally is just sort of legendary for me, you know, watching, you know, the World Rally Championship for all these years. The stages were always beautiful and quite unique on TV, so it's quite a cool thing for me to now come and be able to race them.
There is a completely new 4-day route to tackle this year, though. Here is Matt Wilson's co-driver Scott Martin with a few more details.
So Rally GB 2011 starts totally different this year. We're based up in North Wales. We're going to be starting in Llandudno. We have 2 stages round the Great Orme, which is a classic for the guys in Wales. And then we go into the forest with Clocainog, which is another fantastic stage. I've been in this forest once, but I think for a lot of the guys it'll be new. Day 2 continues down in mid-Wales. There'll be 8 stages, which will be totally new for everybody. We've used them in the British Championship before. One particular stage we had a big accident in 2005, so hopefully this year we'll not have the same again. Day 3 we have 6 stages, a bit further south now, back to the area where we started last year, so everybody knows these stages. The day starts with a 32-kilometre stage in Hafren, and then we move on to the shorter spectator stage in Sweet Lamb. This is renowned for spectators, so there will be a lot there watching, and it's normally packed with drama, people crashing. Day 4, 6 stages again, and an area we're all familiar with. It's in the military ranges at Eppend. But there's some changes to the route this year. Some of the stages have new sections. The last stage of the rally, Monument Hill, 4 k's long, it's the power stage, so there's 3 points on offer, and this will be where it really comes down to the wire, and this could be where the championship's won or lost.
Not used since the mid-90s, the North Wales stages are a new challenge for the current generation.
Some of the North Wales stages, I have to say, you know, the Clocainog and everything, I mean, they're classic stages for many, many years, and there's, you know, there's some great stages up there.
We have been the last 10 years we've been in the very same area with the stages. I see it's a positive change to go in the different stages.
This year we're going to see some real old classics back. I mean, we're right up in the north of Wales as well. You know, and to see the Great Orme, it's something I've never done, so looking forward to that.
You have to go back as far as 1981 to see pictures of the classic Great Orme in the World Championship. It will get the rally underway, and some do have experience of this stunning tarmac road.
We did it with Mikko 2002 when we did the Cambrian Rally before Wales Rally GB, so I have done it, but 9 years ago, it's a long time ago.
It's a fantastic, very beautiful place, right by the sea, and there's this big drop right into the sea, and the stage itself, it's not too bad either, so it's gonna be perfect start for the last rally.
It certainly is an intriguing route ahead to host the final event showdown between Loeb and Hirvonen, but both have been here before.
For sure it will be some pressure, but what can we do? It's like this, it's not only for me. I hope I will be there with the pressure, because it will mean that we are still competitive and still fighting for the championship.
I don't want to lose again. That's the only thing really. Otherwise I'm just maybe not so nervous as I was back then, even though I remember back then I felt really relaxed and good about it as well, but somehow feels like I'm thinking that even less than back then, so I feel good about it.
Anything could happen in Wales. Can Hirvonen finally end Loeb's 7-year domination, or will the Frenchman's reign continue for an 8th season? As ever, you can keep up to date with the final event of 2011 as it happens on WRC.com. And as we look forward to the thrilling finale, we'll leave you with a look back at a few of the championships that have been won or lost on the muddy stages of Rally GB.
This is ESPN.